So brain stimulation is any activity that enhances brain activity. So for a long time.
Good evening, Ma. Can you hear me?
Hello, Temilade. Good evening.
I'm glad I was able to come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You made it.
Network has been horrible.
But what's going on? What is exactly happening?
I think it's MTN network because I don't think other networks have such issues. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, it is what it is. You may not be able to do anything about it, but as long as it is here, let's just make use of it.
All right.
So this good evening. Okay, it's you, Temilade. Now saying good evening. Good evening, Temilade. Now, so today we are discussing brain stimulation. So brain stimulation in autism is something that is very important because a lot of times, even when we are trying to do therapies for these children, it's also important to apply something externally. So internally, yes, we can be talking about nutrition and all that, but externally, just like everything, maybe you can liken it to maybe a machine. So there has to be some form of external factor that enhances the functionality of the brain, and that is where brain stimulation comes in. A lot of people are already offering it, but there's one we experienced not long time ago. That was in February this year in India. We had this brain stimulation that is administered. We went to that hospital, and when they ask you to go for physio, you actually would think that you are going for physiotherapy, that people will come and be massaging you and just be using hand. But no, in that physiotherapy they use stimulation. They just put patches on the area they want to work on. Sometimes, okay, for something like speech therapy, they put the patches on the neck and put the patches on the cheek of the child. So using that, they establish that stimulation effect for both the muscles, the brain, different parts of the body. Hi, Marat. Marat, hello. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. So during that stimulation, electromagnetic wave is passed through the child or adults, because they use the same for people who have suffered something like stroke. So that, hello, can you help me to stop farting? Okay, that is easy. There are so many ways you can stop farting. If you are eating a lot of legumes, for instance, beans is a type of legume. I hope you're hearing me. Beans is a type of legume. One of the things that might be causing the farting is the anti-nutritional factors. So if you're someone that loves eating beans, what you do to stop you from farting when you eat beans is to soak it before cooking. If you put it in cold water like 6 to 12 hours before cooking, then you can cook it. You will stop having flatulence. The farting is from flatulence if you are just eating, if it's from legumes. Otherwise, there could be other factors to why you should be farting. And one approach you can do is to restore your guts. By restoring your gut, we mean like supplying your body with things like probiotics. You can start taking probiotics and probably start doing gut healing. So farting is just like excess gas production from your food. A lot of people experience farting when they eat beans. I just told you the best way to control farting after beans is to start soaking the beans before cooking. I hope that helps. Please try it and come back to the comment of this video and let me know what you think, if it worked for you, so that other people can learn. Is that okay? Not me. Not me, but me dollar. I hope we answered your question. Okay. And don't do it where people will prosecute you for farting. I know it's a natural process, but sometimes it can be embarrassing to the person, and then it can also be offensive to the people around. Thank you for that, your question. I appreciate it when people ask questions. It kind of helps me to, you know, refocus my thoughts. Oh my goodness. Turbo Master. Oh, maybe that your turbo is for the is for that process. Anyway, thank you all for for your comments and for being here. Turbo Master, yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate this, really, I do. So when you experience farting, another thing that will help your tummy is if you have cucumber. Thank you, Turbo Master. This means a lot to me. You can also eat a lot of cucumber. Cucumber is something that also tries to reduce gas for you. Assuming you're having heartburn after eating, cucumber is something that lowers it extremely. That it gives you that comfort that all the all those what's the anti-gas, I don't know, I can't remember the name, I'll say it when I remember it. So when it comes to anything that has to do with gut, you also have to check allergy. If you have something like allergy, you have to check if you're allergic to things that are causing that gassing. Because if you are continuously eating something you're allergic to, it could be a reason for you to feel bloated. But if you have allergy also, it could be risky, because if you continue to consume the food, uh, okay, if you continue to consume the food that gives you allergy, at some point your body would be in a very continuous fighting mode. Because what allergy means is that your body is identifying something as an enemy, and then it is producing antibodies to fight it. And if it continues to fight, and then at some point that thing stops coming and it's already in that continuous fight mode, that's when you get a problem, a really serious problem that is known as autoimmunity. Autoimmunity, as at today, has no cure, and it can be very, very, you know, troublesome. People have to live with it for the rest of their lives, and it can cause a lot of pain and, you know, several issues depending on how it is presenting. Sometimes you even see people that their body is being chopped off from the inside, and that could be as a result of autoimmunity. So if you are having the problem with gas, if you try these two things, restoring your gut microbiome, healing your gut, or using soaking your legumes, if you try these things and it is not helping, please check your allergy. Check allergy. Allergy is something that you shouldn't live with. It can be very uncomfortable, and just as we identified, it can lead to more serious problems, like very serious problems if left unattended. So today we set out to talk about, thank you, we set out to talk about brain stimulation in autism. So a lot of children, even when they have undergone intensive therapies on other areas of their challenge, they might still require that stimulation to get things going. And I gave example of where children are offered like stem cell therapy, and after the stem cell therapy, there will still be need to stimulate the brain. So what does stimulation do? The stimulation is more like, kickstarting something. Maybe that thing was going to happen, or it wasn't going to happen, but kickstarting it is like, putting key in a lock to maybe a vehicle to enhance its activity. So it activates or enhances neural activity, just like activating or enhancing. So sometimes it has to happen for the activity to start. Sometimes the activity is happening, but you have to introduce it to be able to, make it more effective. So on this note, so what are the things that can be used to activate brain activity? What are the things that can be used to introduce brain stimulation? So it is not only devices, thriving spectra, okay? It is not only devices you can use. You can also use things like sensory input. A lot of people use sensory stimulant, like not necessarily an equipment, but like things that the child can be using. Sometimes you can use things like a weighted blanket. If you watch one of our videos on our channel, you will see where we talked about weighted blanket. You can also use nutritional. When a child is not doing so well, you can use nutritional intervention to stimulate the brain. Some of the nutrients you can use could be like all these dopamine, omega-3, anything that would help the neural activity to get better is a form of brain stimulation. And then you can also use behavioral interventions. How do we use behavioral interventions? If you have a child and then you take the child outside, like maybe on daily basis or 3 to 4 times in a day, in a week, you are stimulating the brain by exposing the brain to different information. You can also be using like educational materials where the child's brain is tasked to solve some puzzles, to solve some obstacle course as a toy or in real life. So these are ways you can use to stimulate the brain of a child. So after you might have noticed that the child is not performing optimally, we said that 3 ways you can use: sensory, you can use nutritional, you can also use behavioral, you can use equipment. But the point here is that it is not just equipment that can achieve brain stimulation. There are different ways that brain stimulation can be achieved. Temilade, hello? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, do you
I
have
hear you.
anything to add to this at this point?
Okay, another thing that was coming to my mind was concerning social environment. Can it have
Exactly.
a role to play?
Yeah.
Like being, let's say, being in the midst of maybe children of same age range,
Yeah.
or like just in a fun environment, an environment that can encourage social interaction
Yeah.
in these children, rather than them just being in isolation or them
Yes.
just being left alone to themselves. So if they are interacting with people, it could be their parents, their caregivers, they could maybe take them outside, ensure they play with other people. I think it can also help to stimulate their brains.
it doesn't just help, it's like ultimate. It kind of gives them, things to work on. One thing that a lot of parents mistake they make is that, well, we made that mistake initially. They will tell you that no, you should not speak more than one language to the child, that the child would not be able to understand. So, but recently, not even recently, for a while now, research has shown that bilingual upbringing can make a child more intelligent. So the point I'm making here is that exposing the child to different types of languages, you understand, either at home or at school or in the midst of friends, midst of peers, like you mentioned, is also a form of stimulation. So when you put a child in the midst of his peers, they are learning what they are doing. They are kind of getting that exposure to typical way of doing things. Okay, for instance, a lot of parents believe that their children do better when they are with neurotypical children. And then what is the impact? The impact is that when they are with neurotypical children, they tend to learn the right things, the right way to do things, that children do things. They tend to get exposure to doing things the way that other children do. But a lot of families also believe that when their children are in maybe special school, in the midst of children with only neurodivergent conditions, they tend to regress. And that is because there is no stimulation. The only thing they learn there is more or less the things that they still do, like each of them is still, needing that support and care. So some children go there and they learn stimming, they go there and learn behaviors, they go there and learn self-injurious behaviors, they go there and learn, they go and copy things from others. So this negative aspect will give us a big idea of how positive exposures will be affecting these children. So a lot of times the exposure, the point here is that if getting exposure, you should know the kind of exposure you are giving. You pointed out, yes, being in the midst of other children. But the point I'm making here is that when you are considering exposing them to other children, you should also know if these are the kind of children they will learn from, or are they the kind of children that might, be detrimental to their own learning. So exposure, like you said, mixing with other children is a very wonderful way of stimulation. But even in the midst of that, are you exposing them to the right kind of environment, the right kind of, what do we call it, the right kind of environment? That's what it is. So, and then it's saying that this stimulation, what areas can it help with? They can help with focus. They can help with emotional regulation. When we talk about emotional regulation, we'll talk about things like using the trampoline, for example. It helps them to regulate very well, and it helps them to, to find the balance, emotional. It provides them that emotional balance, and it also helps them with sensory integration. Sensory integration means that a lot of them are very, very sensitive. They can be sensitive to light, they can be sensitive to sight, they can just be sensitive to things touching their body. So by the time you do a form of brain stimulation, either by Some people do brain stimulation by continuously exposing them to that thing they are sensitive to, or they do brain stimulation by stimulating the part of the brain that is responsible for processing that their sensitivity. So depending on the type of stimulation you are making, stimulation can actually help these children to integrate better with the environment, especially the environment they can be sensitive to. Then another thing it helps with is language and communication development. Like the point Temilade made earlier, the more children are exposed to other children, the more they learn language. If you have ever seen a child who is not speaking and then he's among other children that can speak, by the time they take his toy or they take whatever belongs to him, most times they are encouraged to ask for it. Most times they are like, give me my toy. They also want to express what they need to express, and those are the benefits of stimulation. Exposing a child to other children of their age, or children who are supposed to be teaching him, or just a bit older siblings, older children, can be a form of stimulation. And we understand this because a lot of times you see children that are non-verbal or pre-verbal asking for their toy, just because of the power of exposure. So it helps them to focus, it helps them in emotional regulation, sensory integration, and then language and communication. um is there anything you want to chip in here? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, would you like to chip in something here?
Yes, another thing I would like to add to this is to actually actively, should I say, ensure that they have therapy sessions by
Okay.
professionals, people who have experience and are skilled in addressing issues like this.
Okay, you mean for the children or for the caregivers?
For the children, for the
Okay.
children, because sometimes, well, in as much as caregivers and parents are trying their best to, should I say, motivate these children,
Yeah.
there could be a special, a skilled way in which health professionals who were trained to do this can
Yeah.
like do it better
Yes.
than the way their parents could have done such. So like seeking professional help, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yes, that is what do I say? Most parents with children with additional needs, most times is their first line of action. First line of action is seeking professional help. But unfortunately, a lot will seek the professional help, but very few have access, especially in our side of the world. Very few have access to professional in quotes. I say professional in quotes because a lot of people parade as professionals when they are not. So it's either they are learning work on top of your child, which can be detrimental at times. Because okay, now think of it. If I am a mother in 2025 and a therapist in quote comes and tells me you have to stop speaking two languages to this child because he has additional needs, that will be a disaster. It may not be a disaster, but that's not a good advice. That's not a good advice because research has shown that a bilingual upbringing is actually a form of brain stimulation. So yes, a lot of parents are of that opinion. They have to seek professional advice. But just like everything, you have to apply wisdom, caution, you have to research properly who you are seeking, what they are offering, which may be difficult sometimes, especially where there is no regulation like our climb. But yeah, it's just worth pointing out that parents shouldn't be, you know, um, too anxious or under a lot of pressure to just take whatever is on their way in terms of seeking the help of professionals. Sometimes you could be so desperate, that's the word I've been looking for. Sometimes you could be so desperate and you just drinking up everything. You're just anybody that says I can do, you just say, oh yeah, come, come, come. At least it's better than not doing anything. But yeah, it can be detrimental, just like what we said earlier. As much as exposure, as much as stimulation is good, it can be detrimental when done wrongly. And exposing them to the wrong intervention can really do more damage than good. So yes, exposure to professionals, engaging professionals. But that is not to say when you engage good professionals, oh my God, you can get good results. A child can go from non-verbal, hyperactive, non-sleeping to really cool, calm kid communicating just by having the right professionals work with them. So a lot of things, like, I don't know if I should say is fate or luck, or but the yes, just like you pointed out, a good professional can make all the difference in the lives of these children. When you expose a child to the right professional, yes, they help a lot. They help a lot. They can do things that, let me just say, only professionals can do. Because if you are truly a professional in that field, you should have learned how to stimulate which part of the brain for what condition. So if you know where to touch, when to touch, and how to touch, it can make a whole lot of difference, especially when it is a young child. Welcome, Israel. Good to see you. Hey, Israel. Good to see you. Welcome. Are you in?
Yeah, can
Oh,
you
good
hear
to
me?
see you.
Oh, it's nice, good to see you.
Yeah.
I saw your invitation
Yes, I
and I
sent.
was thinking like, oh my word, you're going live on TikTok.
Yeah, I
And
sent
I
out
said,
my invitation earlier.
oh, that was very good. I didn't know you're on TikTok as well. So I only got TikTok for just like the similar thing with Instagram. Not for fun, it's just like empowerment.
Yeah.
But you don't mind me if I can say something. You don't mind.
No, no.
I think what you're doing very magnificent
Thank
with
you.
this whole like what we gotta feed, because what like you said, plant based, yeah, food,
Mm.
stops people from gut leakage,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and also it could be non-gluten stuff
Yeah.
that can be done, or there's third option we can do is try and learn to make some stuff
Yeah.
because when it comes to artificial, sometimes we end up, what's it called? We end up doing stuff what we're not supposed to do,
Yeah.
and then later we suffer gut
Yeah.
leakage, and sometimes we don't really have a check. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say, from my point of view, I would want people to understand, whoever's watching, to know that it's not about being ignorant. Plus, I mean, we have to make sure you have to read what contains.
Yes.
Because, I mean, like I said, the community now doesn't check before they buy.
Yeah.
If it's containing too much of sugar, then it's not advisable.
Yes.
Or something. It's not just biscuits, even rice as well. Most of them may not be able to know. Instead of rice, couscous could be the replacement one. Because
Quinoa.
quinoa, that one. That one is more replaceable. It would taste like rice, but it's more lighter.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really, and it doesn't make people get heavier, and it doesn't damage the guts as well. But what I recently found out, somebody invented gut cleaner.
Okay.
Because when we are neurodivergents get older, when we start to get old in age,
yeah,
our metabolism starts fading.
Of course.
They fade not because we've eaten too much, but because the age we turn to be. But then later, and sometimes our sleep patterns don't become the same anymore.
Of course.
You end up waking up by 6, 7, etc.,
Yeah.
and etc., and it becomes like a problematic. So what I realized, I mean, some people can order it online, but it costs about 56. But you mix it in your water.
Yeah.
It's like a vanilla, but it cleans your gut, and then it kills all those
bad microbiome.
It kills anything like the what's it called? That's like, it's something that's making your body weight. It kills all the excessive,
Okay, like cholesterol. It doesn't reduce cholesterol.
No. It cleans your body system.
Okay.
It cleans your system. It eliminates every toxin out of your gut.
Yes.
And it resets your metabolism.
Oh, really?
And then it even resets your sleeping pattern. And once you reset your sleeping pattern, then it's really, really good. Cholesterol, well, it depends. It's not just. It could be your intake of cheese. Once your guts gets reset to normal, there's nothing stopping it. You can eat a lot of cheese now.
Yeah.
Because it won't be affected because your metabolism level has been restored. Because you won't even feel the body weight anymore.
Yeah.
You won't feel it anymore. You will just feel like you can eat as much as you like. When it comes to what's it called? When it comes to eggs, because I know majority, we all eat eggs, don't we? Unless if one doesn't, or some.
Unless one is allergic to it.
Unless one, that's the one, allergic to it as well. Or some are intolerant.
Yes.
So there's some people who are intolerant to eggs, or some are allergic to it. Some people don't really eat it. I mean, back then when I was a kid, I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to it then. But when I started getting used to it, how old was I? When I was in secondary school.
Wow.
When I was 11.
That was when you started eating egg.
When I was 11. Like when I was in secondary school. Because I think at that time, Mom was making toasted sandwich.
Okay.
And it had sardine and egg in it. So at first, it was sardine and boiled egg. Yeah, that's it. I think I can remember.
Yeah.
Then I bit it, and I thought, oh my gosh, it was tastes nice,
You didn't know what you've been missing.
Huh?
You didn't know what you've been missing all along.
Maybe. Then I think later I got used to it.
Yeah.
I think it was later.
It's always like that. It was avocado pear that did that to me.
No. It's so funny, because then in my primary school, my class were in love with egg sandwich.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not just your class. In the UK, I think apart from African children, 80% of children come to school with sandwich.
Majority.
In fact, the idea of a packed lunch for an average British is sandwich.
Yeah, majority.
Yeah. So a lot of children come to school with just toast and sandwich and stuff.
Cheese,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think back then when I was in primary school, majority, some of them were more into cheese, some of them were more into ham, some of them were more into chicken. I think that was just it.
They would just slam cheese, ham, and maybe a piece of cabbage or this
Or
other,
chicken,
yeah, that light cabbage, the one that's so
lettuce.
sweet and yeah, not sweet but very light, like a
No,
leaf.
I think it's lettuce. I think.
Uh-huh.
Then I think it was that time they were used to it. I think there was one boy, he loved egg sandwich.
Oh.
I think I think it was my classmate that he liked it more, and I think it was. I mean, not everybody in my school ate egg sandwich in there for lunch as well. It was in my class that time when it was time for tea. Then that was when they started making the kids. I think they were used to cheese or egg sandwich. That was
Yeah.
just
Okay. Yeah.
But for me, I didn't touch it then. I didn't touch it at that time though. But
Okay.
it was
Was it school meal?
no, it wasn't a school meal then. It was more of a school tea because we were in a class.
Oh, okay. The
Sometimes
school
when
gives the tea, but the child comes to the sandwich.
yeah. I think it was
Oh, I
because
see.
it was special needs school at that time.
Okay.
So sometimes they just make them sit and have something to eat before they go home. Before they go home. So I think
Yeah.
it's just something light, not heavy.
Yeah.
So I think the times some of them will go and make some sandwiches for tea and things like that. Then that was just that really. That was just what it was. But I think later on, I think later I wasn't into it then.
Yeah.
So I think it was now later I started eating cheese sandwich gradually. Gradually. How old was that? I think I was 8 or 9. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was either that. Then later I started eating egg sandwich around 12 years of age. So, but even if you ask me to this day, I still eat it, but not as much as I
As
do.
you had started eating it then.
No, but I prefer eating egg with rice or pasta dishes.
But you know that egg is a very superfood for children on the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't know it was, but now I do.
It contains choline. Choline, some parents believe that they have been able to, improve their children by giving them up to 4 eggs every day for over a year. Because it contains choline. Choline is a very essential nutrient for the brain functioning, brain development, brain activities. So a lot of parents, well, I for one, as a nutritionist, if a child is not sensitive to egg, I would recommend that at least every day a child on the autism should take an egg.
Yes,
One, two,
some of
three
them will
egg.
do. Some of them may not be used to it.
Yeah, no, what parents can actually do is let them do it in different forms. Even if you give me fried egg every day, I will get tired. So maybe if you fry today, you poach tomorrow, you boil next day, you use it as a sauce the other day. You know what I mean? There are so many ways of making use of
Because
egg.
and also they may not like the texture as well. That's another thing that one's got to look at.
That's one major thing, because with children on the spectrum, sensitivity is everything. Sensitivity is everything, and if you know the topic we are talking today about sensory stimulation.
Yes.
Sensory stimulation in autism, and you realize that you can also use nutrition to stimulate their senses.
Mm.
So even that child that is not sensitive, but that child that may not like the texture of egg, you
Mm.
could offer him or her the kind of nutrients that would help to, activate whatever part of the brain that should normalize food textures. Let's say generally food that help brain activities like, omega-3, things like chia seed, things like flax seed, things
Mm.
like vitamin E, you know.
Yeah, that would catch them because I mean it depends on because then like I said before, I
Yeah.
had no idea,
Yes.
about what eggs did for people because, you know, then because because I was just probably just trying to find my way around
Yes.
things in life because nobody really spoke in depth.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
because I think it was because where I grew up, because the black community they grew up in eating eggs a lot,
Why is that?
huh?
Is there any particular reason for that?
I think okay because where we came from, majority the black community, majority where I came from, because my whole family they were eating eggs a lot.
Yay.
No, they loved eating it a lot,
Okay.
by a whole lot, because then because if they were not used to it or the non-introduced, that would be different, entirely different. You get it?
Yes.
But because of exposure,
Yeah.
that's probably why. Because let's say you grew up in back home, if I'm sure you had exposure when it came to eggs.
I also want to believe that a lot of black communities probably were eating eggs because meat is a bit,
It was more of a protein side. That's it.
yeah, it was
Because
the most
I think
affordable
we were
protein
just
source.
focusing on protein then at
Yeah.
that time.
And then because you know that beans is not very, very common here, so egg is like the most affordable form of protein right now for
Yeah, yeah.
them. Because meat is a bit pricey here. Oh my god, meat is pricey here.
Yeah, it's overpriced, and it's
Yeah.
because to get meat now these days is not as less as it used to be.
Uh-huh.
It's not so people now end up going for chicken
Yes.
or white meat more.
Yeah, because chicken is more abundant because you can throw a chicken in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, they are ready to be slaughtered and put on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
But before you can grow a cow, you have to know what you spend and how long it takes.
That's a long time for you to get. That takes quite a while for one
Yes.
to do such things because when I mean back then, we was easy to slaughter any stuff.
Yeah.
It was easy to slaughter because then you didn't really have a problem in that area. But
Yes.
compared to now, you know, everything is just changed.
Yeah, everything,
There's not,
animal rights,
huh?
even adding animal rights stuff to it.
And no, back then people we didn't really care much about animal rights.
That's what I'm
We
saying,
didn't,
that
yeah,
now the
yeah,
idea of animal rights is complicating things too.
yeah. It is complicating things as well because, like, if it's complicating things, then how people are going to eat, how they're going to get their protein from.
Yes.
So, but then because when it comes to eggs, we didn't need to stress on it.
Yes.
So we don't really have to But it's amazing because eggs are starting to get a bit expensive in America,
Yeah.
and it's really been. And America uses it to cook. They use it to make lunch or dinner
Yeah.
or things like that. It's so crazy,
Mm-hmm.
But I think, I mean, before then, before I finish this, I think to me, I'm not used. I don't eat red meat as much,
Yeah.
because when you get to a certain stage, you've got to just chill out. I
Yeah.
tend to eat more of white meat more.
Yeah.
I tend to eat boiled egg more
Yeah.
because I think that's my favorite spot.
Yeah.
Because when I was actually, in fact, in my school, they're encouraging the people on the spectrum to eat eggs, during lunchtime.
Oh, they give
So,
them, they share
uh,
it, or like they share to the children.
no, during dinner, during lunchtime, the kids will go up and get what they want to eat.
Oh,
And then
okay.
they get up what they eat. Let's just say they will see like maybe like cheese or eggs, they'll just put it on a plate and then just get what they want to eat, So I think they encourage, you know,
Yeah,
to get to that
yeah,
level.
to kind of be independent in their choice of food.
Yeah, I think yeah, of course. Because then because when you line up here, you'll just see the eggs already peeled and put in
Yes,
the
just
container.
they display there for your
Yeah.
consumption.
For the
Yeah.
option, yes. I think they've done like a good job, but I don't think they used to when I was younger,
Yes.
but they quit doing it when I got a bit older. I don't know
Really? They
now.
stopped offering them?
I don't know now if they still do. I
Yeah.
think I think they would now because it's in salad range.
Yeah, it should be, yeah, yeah.
It should
That's
be in
where it
salad
is
range.
now.
I think it's in salad range, so it's not like, you know, you don't mind me asking, yeah, were you used to boiled eggs then?
Where?
When you were in Nigeria, were you used to eating boiled eggs?
Yeah, we eat lots of boiled eggs. There's this food I make that we call
It's a cheaper
vegetable
source of
pizza.
protein, yeah.
Pardon?
I said it's a cheaper source of protein over here.
Yes, it's an
Yeah.
affordable source of protein. That is why people kind of turn to it for, for supply. And a lot of people be like, if you eat one egg, you have eaten like a full chicken.
Yeah, but to be honest, yeah, a lot of people don't know this, yeah. They can, you be honest, when I was studying food and nutrition for athletes,
Yeah.
one boy in my class was asking my tutor, he was just saying, is eating three boiled eggs bad for you? Then my tutor responded and said, it's not really bad, she said, as long as you take out the yellow yolk.
Really?
Yeah?
No ways.
Yeah, it depends on how many yolks you're eating.
Well, it depends on your age.
It depends on your age as well. And
Yeah,
it
for
depends on,
children, it's actually the yolk they need.
no, the children is not the problem. It's just the adults.
And you know what? It was in 2020, around 2021, that research came out. If you know Lancet brought out a research that says that egg is no longer listed as a source of bad cholesterol.
Really.
Yes, that it is now healthy to eat as many eggs as you want.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's interesting because some people will say, oh, it's too bad. Oh, it's too bad. And I said, no, it's
It
not
is
really the
not.
problem.
Egg is not. You see, I just mentioned. Uh, Now listen to this.
Okay.
While egg yolks contain cholesterol, current research indicates that dietary cholesterol, including that from eggs, has a limited and often insignificant impact on blood cholesterol levels and cardiovascular risk in most individuals.
Mm.
So, this research, I think, came out in 2020 or 2022. It says an updated effect of egg consumption on health outcomes, an updated um, an updated umbrella review of systematic reviews and meta-analysis of observational and intervention studies.
Mm.
So, this study is telling us today that current evidence indicates that dietary cholesterol from eggs may have limited, significantly clinically insignificant effect on blood
Mm.
cholesterol levels and cardiovascular risk.
Mm.
The EAT Lancet diet recommends approximately 19 grams per day of eggs, equivalent of 1.5 eggs per week for a reference diet of 2,500 kilocalories, while suggesting higher intake might benefit low-income populations with poor dietary quality.
Mm.
Yes. So those
Wow.
with poor dietary quality should actually be encouraged to consume more than 1.5 eggs per day.
So if you have a good diet, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, that's the point we were discussing just
So
now.
if it's
That
so when you say good
yeah,
dieting, so it means you can have a salad.
yeah, like okay, say the like what you were saying. Why was it that the black community were eating lots of egg? So we are saying that it's because it's the most affordable source of protein. They
Yeah.
were probably not able to buy meat as often as they should because
Mm-hmm.
it was, on the high side.
All right.
Yeah, so this is also encouraging. This is encouraging you to eat egg the way you want because it does not have any significant impact on
I
cholesterol.
mean, this is the first time I'm getting to know. In fact, this is the first time I've heard because I'll tell you the secret. I'll tell you one big secret.
Yeah.
The secret is when it comes to things like maybe things like jollof rice. Sometimes I boil 2 eggs or 3 eggs with my food.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. And it does. And you know what? I don't really care too much. Don't really care too much because, like you've just said, it doesn't do any damage.
It doesn't. And like seriously, when I am up to it, I give my daughter 3 eggs a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your daughters, they eat it.
Yeah, yeah. I give her
Really?
3 eggs a day.
Okay. What does she have it with?
She sometimes I make, like I was going to explain, I make what I call vegetable pizza. What
Oh
I
yeah.
do is that I sauter onion and then I
Mhm.
add vegetables. When
Mhm.
I steam that vegetable, I beat like 8 pieces of eggs and
Okay.
just spread it on top of the
Mhm.
vegetables,
Mhm.
and I don't turn it. I
Mm.
cover it with a cover and then it
Mhm.
stays there and gets molded, and I cut
Mm.
it like the shape of pizza. And then
Mm.
in my house I tell my children it's pizza and then they are happy, they eat it and they are happy like we are eating vegetable pizza.
This one are UK pizza, Abby.
Yes, now that is pizza. Is it not pizza? So no, we were making it all the way from Nigeria.
Oh wow.
We were making it. I teach
So
it
it's a
to my
pizza.
group
You
of
just you just beat 8 eggs into it.
yeah, you beat the egg, evenly pour it on top of the vegetables
Okay.
and don't turn it. Then
Don't
you
turn it.
just
And
cover it with a cover.
okay. Wow. That's
Yeah.
nice. That's interesting.
It will
If it's not
mold
pizza.
together. It will mold, and then after it has molded, it
Yeah.
would become solid, and then you use
Yeah.
you use a knife to cut it like a pizza.
I was just gonna say
Yes,
about.
I have just sent the research to your WhatsApp.
Or you sent it to my WhatsApp. I was
Yeah,
gonna ask for it so I
yeah,
can now have it as a
yeah, as a
evidence. So,
reference. Use it as a
if you
reference.
give your daughters free boiled eggs, do they have it with rice, or do they have it with spaghetti, or do they have it with salad,
If I
or
give her what?
if you give them free boiled eggs, what would they eat it with? Sandwich or which one?
The vegetable pizza.
No, the free boiled eggs.
Okay, free boiled egg. Normally, we hardly do free boiled egg. We do that. We normally hardly should we when we do free boiled egg is just something they chew for like as if it were snacks.
Okay, just on its own then.
Yeah, but another way we eat egg is we eat gluten-free pasta from Tesco.
Oh yeah.
So when we boil the pasta, how the sauce we eat it with is that when you sauter onions, you pour vegetables, you pour egg.
Okay.
That one we also use about 8 to 10 pieces of eggs. Yeah, when you sauter onions, you beat the eggs and pour it and keep turning it so they don't mold. You just keep turning it, keep turning, and then when it's boiled and cooked, you now pour the veggies. I use cut veggies from Costco or Aldi. So you
Wow.
pour the veggies, and then I use this um ah um oh my god, I can't remember the name. What is that? Bolognese.
The bolognese, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
I now pour a full bottle of bolognese on top, and then I add water. You
Well,
understand?
yeah, that sounds very interesting. So
Yes, you
maybe
you
what you can do is you can create some recipes for families, that
ye-
will benefit from it because then they would want to try new things.
exactly is
Not
right.
like
That's
the
why I'm
same old boring stuff. But like you said, if it's snacks, like you said, if your children are just gonna eat free boiled eggs on its own, then that's very good.
yeah, they eat
Then you
it as
can
not like I could just boil it and put in the lunch bag as a snack.
really.
Yeah, they take
So
it to school as a snack, not as part of a food. Like the things I'm telling you now are different ways that we eat egg. Or
okay, so you just
if
put it in their lunchbox.
yeah,
Do
and you
they
know
so
that I also
when
bake
they get to
bread.
school, they just eat it or they have to peel it?
No, I would have peeled it. I peel it and put.
Okay.
I would have peeled it. And then I bake gluten-free bread myself.
Oh yeah.
So when I bake gluten-free bread, I just fry egg flat and
Mm-hmm.
I put it in place of ham. I use it in place of ham. I use the veggies, then
Mm-hmm.
the egg, and then another veggie, and then I
Wow,
cover.
that sounds very, very
You need to taste
interesting.
it, and that one you add
Maybe when
like
I come to Midlands, I'm gonna have a shot.
you have to invite me to Midlands, Israel.
Huh?
When you invite me to okay, when you come,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
goodness, that would be wonderful. Just let me know when you're coming, and I will
yeah.
know
I'll let
what to
you
get
know.
ready.
Then I'm gonna try your gluten-free bread.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try that one with boiled egg, and I'm gonna try the one with your other one.
yes,
I'm gonna have a taste on two
the
sides.
the gluten-free pasta.
I'm gonna try that one. I'm really going to have a try and see how well it goes, because I'm gonna snapshot and say, look, guys, this is very helpful, and we can be trying to like do maybe a recipe for families who can, because
Yeah,
they're
if you're up to
neurodivergent
it,
children.
if you are up to it, we can actually start maybe a nutrition program for families. Maybe once in a month or once in 3 months, we do
I
like
mean,
a food
what I'm
demo.
likely, what I'm likely going to look into, maybe when I come back from holiday,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna look into July or August, and I'm gonna see if I can come down to where you are. And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna have it try your gluten-free bread. I'm gonna try. We're gonna do taste the difference.
Yes,
See
yes.
which one is heavy and which one is light.
We make gluten-free plain bread,
Yeah.
and then we make gluten-free banana bread.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Hello,
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah, we can try that one.
The banana bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can make
try.
either gluten-free plain bread or gluten-free banana bread.
Actually, maybe gluten-free bread. I've always been longing to make a gluten-free bread.
Yeah, I make
And
it.
then I tell you what we can do. We can make a gluten-free bread, and then we can boil some eggs and add some with it.
Yeah,
Because I'm a big fan of boiled eggs.
yeah, you could use the boiled egg as a sandwich.
Yeah, I can slice it.
And then you can also like I have this plant-based spread. So you can smash the boiled egg, put some of the spread in it, and use it in your sandwich.
Yeah.
You can use a fork
Yeah.
to smash the bread and use some of the plant-based spread and use it as your sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I can try that. I'm gonna have a go and see how it does for me when I visit.
So these are like different ways you can use to incorporate as much egg as possible. Like in my house, for instance, if we eat the egg pizza as breakfast, we can as well eat the pasta as dinner. So with that, I'm sure my children would have gotten, each of them would have been getting almost 3 to 4 eggs per day on that day. Yeah.
Wow. That's going to be very, very...
Without being bored, without feeling like they are eating too much egg.
I mean, like you said before, it's down to, like you said, it doesn't really matter too much, because really, it's not about I've learnt the hard way. It's not about what people think. It's all about what you enjoy and what you're comfortable with. Because I was telling somebody and I said, look, I'm a big fan of boiled eggs, number one. And so I said to them, you can't tell me what to do with it.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you notice, Ghana.
Yes. Yeah, they eat egg with everything.
Yeah, and then do you know what the interesting thing about Ghana? They're not ashamed of it.
They're not. It's like you saying
they don't care.
No, that's who you are.
Look,
why should you be ashamed of it?
They're not ashamed of it.
It's not like it's a crime.
It's not a crime to them at all. If it's jollof rice, they will put their eggs to it. They won't care at all.
Of course.
It's wache or something like that, or white stew, white rice and stew.
Yes.
They won't care too much. Even if you put 3 boiled eggs, 4 boiled eggs, they're just gonna be like, "Oh, what's that?" Even in that swallow, they don't care.
Everything,
anything.
There's
They
this.
just don't care.
There's this sauce, should I call it? They call it shito. It's fermented fish.
Yeah.
It's still protein, but they would boil egg and use the shito to eat the egg.
But that's what they do.
So basically everything has egg. Actually, if you're coming to a party, egg is a snack. They will just boil eggs and pour in a bowl and it's part of the snack, not even a real
They
food.
don't crucify anyone.
Mm-hmm.
No, but that's what that's what I love about Ghana mostly. They just don't care at all. And I was telling somebody, I said, look, even if I had an occasion, even if I had a big occasion, and let's say I did maybe a special one, let's say I hired somebody to make jollof rice, this and brought and say if you want eggs, I don't care how many
Yeah.
eggs you take. It wouldn't bother me too much because I already now you've taught me the secret. So
Yeah.
now I've kept it in mind. So it's like people would not even say to me, "Oh, you eat a lot of boiled eggs." But I said, "None of your business," because I like it. It's true because it doesn't really look these don't phase me no more because as you get older, you have to learn to stop being to face what people think because
Yeah, you got to start to
they're
learn
not
to be
living your life.
yourself.
Yeah, there you go. Because I was telling somebody, I said, look, you're not living their life. You learn to live for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the best thing because look, a lot of people can drink beer a day. They can
Uh-huh.
even drink whiskey a day. They can even
Exactly.
drink they can go on without they can even be addicted to drinking what's it called? Hennessy's or the Cavassiers.
Exactly. The
They can
the the
get
hard
used to
drinks and alcoholic.
everything. They're drinking all those gin, all those stuff. And I said, wow, if you guys can live on that stuff, then don't crucify us then.
Yeah, that live on
Because
something
and I was telling
even
somebody,
healthier.
I said somebody was saying, look, if you can fry 6 eggs here, then they shouldn't crucify you eating 3 boiled eggs. That's nothing then. Because
Yeah.
I tell people, I said, look, it's your life, not their life. They didn't buy the eggs for you, you did. So I say, look, if you want to eat two, that doesn't offend me. That doesn't even scare me at all. It's just that if you like it, take it. I'll say the same thing if I had children. I say, look, kids, if you want to eat 2 bodies, it's all fine by me. I don't care what people think about you.
Yeah.
So it's not about them. It's about you, and it's about your happiness. But I really thank
Exactly.
you for letting me into the deep secrets that I've not known for the first time I got to know.
No,
And
it was an updated research.
no, the research you've told me is beginning to now make it more clearer to me.
Yes, you shouldn't
Because when
bother.
people
You
are
shouldn't.
stuck with the old research
Yeah.
and then they're not upgrading, wow, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I've
It's
I've
so
sent
unbelievable.
I've sent the article to your email to your WhatsApp, so you
I used to
can
have a
take your
look at it.
time, study it, and look at
Hmm.
everything he said. You don't need to worry yourself about egg.
No,
Egg is
not why.
actually
It's just
very,
no, no. It's not why because I think I started eating lots of figs, as time went by, as time went by. Because I went to this Ghanaian restaurant. I'll tell you the secret. When I was hungry, you know what they used to do? They used to fill my plate with jollof rice, meat sauce.
imagine.
Then they used to put 4 or 5 eggs to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they didn't care. They just looked after me, or sometimes 5 or 6.
Wow, that must have been a lot then when people thought it was actually an issue.
No, 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 no. It was in a Ghanaian restaurant. It was in a Ghanaian restaurant. This was years ago.
Yeah, okay.
No, it was in a Ghanaian restaurant. They didn't care too much. They didn't care too much. They just loved it. They just didn't. They looked after me very well.
Yeah, yeah.
They just looked after me so well. But I don't really have the time to go to them now because it's a long journey and I don't really have the energy to be walking up and down
Yeah.
and
They are
things
not
like
like
that.
close by to your house.
No, they're not close by, and I don't really have the time to be taking bus and there and there and there.
Yeah, just to be there.
Yeah, because like when you get older, you sometimes your priority changes.
Of course, definitely. If it doesn't, then there is a problem.
Yeah, and you don't want to get caught up with it. Because let's just say if I had my wife now, she'd probably be like, "Where do you think you're going?" You know?
Yeah.
Or she'll
And then
probably
she
be like,
probably just learn the recipe and you never can tell, make it for you once in a while. Or you can also learn it. How about
"For
you
me, it's
learning?
not. It's not a big problem. It's just, yeah, it's not a big problem at all. So it's also about wisdom and adapting. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just really grateful that times have really changed. So I'm really happy
Yeah.
for the secret that's been given.
This secret tonight is very important to you because of your love for eggs.
No, but then before then, I didn't know much because then I was falling in love with it more. And
Yeah.
especially when I was in secondary school, sometimes they'll give us choice to make our own sandwich. Sometimes I'm up to make egg sandwich, you know. I did it
Yeah.
every year, you know. I
Yeah.
did it every year until I stopped doing it around, was it 2004? Yeah, because then it was just like everything was changing.
Yeah.
Everything was really really changing then.
It's always good to know. I mean,
But I'm grateful for the opportunity, you know,
mm.
because in my school we used to do food technology.
Oh, okay. And then the egg sandwich was part of the
Well,
practical.
sometimes we had a choice what sandwiches we had to make in school, so
Yeah.
I picked it, and it was a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, because it helps independence. It encourages independence in children. So it's not like when your mom is not around, you can't fix up something to eat. Yeah.
Maybe I didn't really know much about making people independent, and I didn't really know you can do that because I was just thinking I wasn't concentrating on that. I was concentrating on the taste more. I mean,
No,
to
I
be
know. I know that as a child then you were just, doing what needed to be done.
mm-hmm,
But the aim of the program itself, which the adults knew, was to teach you to be independent, to teach
mm-hmm.
you to be able to sort yourself out, especially with your food when your mom is not around.
Yeah, I think I did. When you said independent, that took years for me.
Yeah.
That took a long, long time because I think I had um what was it called? I think I had what did I had that time? I had a I think I had this phobia.
Oh.
I think I had the phobia. I don't know what it did. Or I think a phobia fear, like if I didn't get it right, then it would just be like, oh, etc. etc. I think I had some fear and phobia when it came to cooking other stuff, which
Yeah.
was so crazy. But the independency was not a problem. It took time because then again, you know, I was just relying on people making my own food
Yeah.
because I had that tendency, habit. I just didn't know how to break it out.
Yeah.
But I think it was later. Then I think I grew out of it. This was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was thinking, why did it happen so late?
That's
It
the
was
neurodivergence for you.
maybe. But I think the first time I made stew on my own was like, I was thinking, is it gonna go well, or is it gonna fake, or is it gonna fade out? But guess what?
You stay.
When Guess what happened?
Yeah, what happened?
It turned everything around. My
Yes.
sister took some to work. Can you believe?
Mm-hmm.
She took my stew to work.
Your mom?
No, not my sister.
Oh.
I think she took some stew to work with her,
And it
and I
was
was
the
like,
stew you made.
yeah. My dad was crying that day.
Hey, yeah, with
My dad
joy.
got emotional because he never expected me to get to that stage.
Yes. With this, with neurodivergent children, I think we are the ones who put them in a box.
I felt that,
Yeah,
yes.
for them, they can actually do anything.
They can if you encourage them,
Yeah, but we put them in a box and be like, no,
which
you
is
can't do
so
that.
bad.
Oh, you can't do that. Like my daughter now, if I didn't try, I'll still be thinking she can't do much. But I will actually sit down in the kitchen and be like, what next are you putting in the pot? And then she will tell me,
Mm,
and I'll say, bring it. And she brings
mm.
it and she puts. And then what next? And then it occurs to you that she knows everything that she needs for a particular dish.
Mm.
And you don't even know that she knew these things until you push her to do it. So
Yeah, I think it's just believing in them,
yeah, believe in
and
them,
it's
and it gives
also
them the confidence to even try.
give them the confidence. Don't
Yeah,
give
because
them.
if every time you're just, oh, you can't do this, oh, let me just do it, yeah, the implication is that they even start doubting if they could do it,
It
and
happens to
then
me a
they
lot.
even start losing interest, because
Hmm.
if you're not allowing me to do it, what's the point? I mean, what am I doing with whatever I want to gather when you will still do it after all?
It's true, though. No, it's very, very true.
Yeah,
Because you're supposed to help people,
yeah.
but unfortunately, they don't do it.
So Israel, I would want us to make a team here. I come live on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Will you be able to make that 10 p.m.?
So now you do yours on Tuesdays.
When do you do yours?
Mine is once a month.
That no, that not that one. I'm talking about TikTok live.
Oh, I haven't done anything on TikTok Live yet.
Okay. But
I've not done nothing.
you can join my team if you want. We can be a team. You just go to where you have the gift and see heart me. There is something that hearts me.
Okay.
So that we can be a team.
Mm.
So just like this, when we are on live, we can just be discussing about things and how they affect neurodivergent children.
That would not be too bad,
Yeah,
because for the time being, my what's it called? Autism Survivor Champions Awareness is on a break at the moment.
yeah. The
It's
one
not
we
gonna
did
come
last
back.
week.
Yeah. It's not gonna come on until September.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that gives me a chance to have a breather
Yeah, so
from it.
yeah, what we do here is that Tuesdays by 10 p.m. I just come on live. People come and ask questions, or we just talk. I just teach on a topic, or people just ask questions. Sometimes people just ask questions and then we just keep answering questions. As I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
I am also on YouTube. So
Mm.
sometimes people ask questions on YouTube, sometimes people ask questions on TikTok. But just to keep the conversation going, I do it
Mm.
like an hour or an hour plus, like today. So I do this Tuesdays and Saturdays by 10
That's
p.m. So all you have to do is just join the live when it comes on, and then we keep talking about issues around the neurodivergent children.
neurodivergent. Yeah, that's a very good
Yeah.
idea. Just to build it all up, and then let's say
Mm-hmm.
if you got a in-person event in your area
Yes.
and you want me to come along,
Yeah.
then that would not be a big deal.
Yeah.
There's just the only thing is just covering the travel expenses, and that's it,
Yeah.
So
We
that one
should.
would not be its own problem. So we just have to build it up. Even my TikTok, I want to try and build it up as well.
Yeah, with going
Because I'm not.
live.
I'm gonna try not to focus on my Zoom meeting. I also want to try and add more, maybe short clips to say, all right, then, what do
Mm-hmm.
you do if
Yeah.
one is bullied? Do you sit still
Yeah.
and suffer, or do you stand up and say something?
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna try and and put my TikTok to more use, so at least it can
Yeah.
have more views. And I heard that it pays people a lot.
Yeah, and building teams is one way to, attract more followership.
More
And
followers,
yeah,
yes. And
because
it will be a
it's
good, it
like,
will be a good idea.
yeah, it will be like you're in a team. So the people that comes to you and people that come to me can just, you could gain more people from me, I could gain more people from you, and then you have something you represent. When
Mm,
people come to your life, they know what to expect, and they know
wow,
those that come there are coming there because they need the information you are sharing.
that is even true.
Yeah.
That's so true. I like the sound of it.
Yeah, and then the
Mm,
algorithm identifies you that yes, this is what you talk about. So whenever you're
mm,
on it, they send it to people who are interested in the topic, and then it keeps
mm.
spreading. You keep getting more exposure, and people continue to know more about what you're doing.
That's a very, you know what? That's a brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's a massive, brilliant idea. Yeah, why not? So then it opens the door to get more people,
Of course.
opens more connections, it opens more. Yeah,
More
that's a
followers, more
more followers,
engagement,
more
and
engagements. Yeah, that's a
definitely
good
more
idea.
growth. Like
I
if
mean,
you go live.
what I would do is because I won't be in London. I'll be out of the country.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is probably maybe next Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll definitely start doing it. But I mean, I'm only going for a few days, so I'll be back on Monday.
No
So
problem.
so hopefully by next Tuesday, we'll start it gradually, like you said,
Yes. Yes.
build it. But what time do you finish it?
Like I said, I usually do an hour or an hour plus. It depends on just when things starts going
Yeah, I mean,
down.
what we have to try and do is if we're going to start at 10, we should at least end it by 11
Yes. Yeah.
so that it doesn't go over.
Yes. And
Uh-huh.
then
I've already
becomes too
accepted
late.
you on my TikTok already, so
Okay. Okay.
so that shouldn't be a problem,
Yeah.
to etc. But I think you've done a pretty good job, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to make the use of TikTok, and I'm going to look at. Hopefully, when I come back, I'm going to look at maybe I might even spend a weekend
Yeah.
in um, in the Midlands.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're okay with, as long as you got a space for me to stay, then why not?
Yeah, we could work things out,
Yeah.
map strategies and put things in place before you leave.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to working with you, honestly.
Yeah, it will be really great. It will be
Just to
really,
collaborate, and then sometimes we can move it, and then move it to another stages, past
with
stages,
collaboration, you go far. You can actually move far with collaboration because your
which is good.
strength may not be another person's strength. And then when
Mm-hmm,
you bring it together, you move faster. They say when you want to work fast, you go
mm-hmm.
alone, but when you want to go far, you go together.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And because you're into food as well, so that makes it
Mm-hmm.
very interesting, you know.
Yeah. I will have to go now because
No,
it's
that's
it's
fine.
already 11:30. It was
It's
really
fine.
nice having you. I will
Oh,
also, each time I'm here, hopefully from next week we make it a date that Tuesday night, Saturday night, both of us we should come and discuss. I am going to build topics which I will share with you so that every session you know the topic we are going to discuss.
yes, at least it makes it easy for me to say which one we're doing and
Yes,
things
so
like that.
so
So,
like that every week we have it as a date. We have to log
mm-hmm,
on at so time, and we know
mm-hmm,
what we are discussing and we talk around it. People will ask questions, and yeah,
mm-hmm.
it will flow.
Yeah, it will be very good. Be a
Yeah.
very, very good idea. Well, yes, I'll definitely let you know by the time when I get back, I'll let you know when I'm gonna stop by you're in Milton Keynes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a piece of cake. I can easily get to Milton Keynes. That's
Yeah.
so easy. That's a piece of cake.
It's just one stop from London, you know.
It's like I went to Milton Keynes before. I went to London Euston.
Yeah, it's one stop from London Euston. I was in London on Monday.
Really?
My office is in London.
Oh, okay. Where about in London?
Lewisham.
Oh, you're in Lewisham.
I was in Lewisham on Monday.
Really? Oh, you're kidding me, right?
I come to work on Monday.
Oh, you work in Lewisham. Oh.
My office is in Lewisham, High Street.
I didn't know. I was thinking I could have pinched you a little bit if you're working in Lewisham.
Are you in Lewisham?
No, I don't live too far from Lewisham.
Oh, really? My office is on High Street, Lewisham High Street.
I know Lewisham High Street.
I even went to the small market and bought myself some tomatoes, some strawberries, blueberries, pineapple.
High Street. Okay. Okay, the next time you're in Lewisham, I can stop by and say hello to you.
Please, the next time I'm coming to Lewisham, I'll just let you know.
Or whenever, you just let me know, and then sometimes we can just stop and get a sandwich and all that stuff.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I am supposed to come to office twice in a month, but sometimes my boss is just a bit lenient and say, "Oh, you don't have to come."
I mean, but I think your boss is very generous.
Very. Oh my goodness! If everybody's boss is like him, the world would be a better place.
No, I mean, your boss is very understandable. He doesn't put stress. It's not like other companies that will put stress, you know.
Like he makes it
easy.
Yeah, he's like, if it's okay, you know, oh no, you just do it when you can. I mean, it's not urgent. Just do it.
He's very, very considerate, because if you look at some other companies, they will put you in tents of pressure.
Oh dear.
They will stress you out, because somebody I spoke to not too long ago, she's under pressure.
Yeah.
She spends 48 hours under pressure. Before you know it, she's superly knocked out.
Do you know that sometimes I'm the one that's like asking my boss, you don't need to do this alone. I can actually do this. Just let me do this. He'll be like, okay, next time I'll let you know when I'm doing it. And then next time he'll be like, oh, I just finished this yesterday. I said, you did let me do it.
No, because do you know what? That could be the favor of God, because it's so rare will you find this kind of favor in this country.
Oh dear, you won't tell me.
No, you will not find it any single place. Be honest with you.
I'm very lucky with my
You're
employment.
very fortunate, because some people don't have the opportunity. Some of them have to stress their foot every day. They have to stress pay a lot, but yours is so, it's just ease of stress, and that's
very lucky.
And probably, and because he knows you've got children, so he's not really he's not being inconsiderate. He's not letting them. He's not making you miss your children. He's trying to ensure that
work-life balance
is on the children, and that is very, very thoughtful of him.
Yes, very. I'm thoughtful. Really lucky with my employer. Very, very lucky.
It is such a because to have that job, it must have been God led.
It is, definitely it is. It's not the kind of job you just pick on the roadside. And you know what? I graduated in February. I started work in March.
Wow, that's great. And now you're working with somebody that really sees a lot in you, and he doesn't want you to be stressed.
Yeah.
Because if he was in America, the stress level is high.
I'm super lucky with that one.
Oh no, you're favored on that one. You're not lucky, you're favored.
Yeah.
Really favored.
If I do say so myself.
Now you're happy, you can't feel no stress on your face.
No, the truth is there ain't not much money in it. So I still need more money.
Yeah, with time, between you have to
Yeah,
stress about it, you have to stress it, and
yeah.
sometimes, but the only thing you can make money for yourself, because somebody was saying, was it 2 years ago, that full-time, part-time jobs will not make cuts anymore.
Yes, it's true.
So if you come up with your own idea, and you spend 4 hours, you're likely gonna make more.
Israel, that's why we need to talk. That's why we need to work together and pull
Yeah, I mean, we
something.
will, because look, let me tell you one thing. You may not even chase another job very soon because you're going to be pursuing your own thing.
Yeah.
And look, you know what? I will work with you. Definitely will.
Just
I'll work.
let's get talking behind the scene. You saw the impact of our last lecture together. Did you see
Mm.
what was going on? A lot of people were like, "Oh my God, I need this." You know, people were
No, but it
really
was so
touched.
good. I mean, the,
Mm-hmm.
the last one you came, I think somebody was asking for the recording of the session.
Yes.
Then I send it to, I can even send it to you if you like,
Yeah, please do. Please,
you
please,
know.
please. I want to put it on my
At least you
YouTube
have
channel.
some of it. It's because now I'm in charge of my Zoom, so I can do
Yes.
whatever I want to do.
Please send to me. I want to put it on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. I mean, what I will do now is I will I will just be doing one thing or another. But now we got Twitter, so that's just, you know. Mm, yeah.
Sorry. All right, Israel. I have to
Thank
say
you.
good night.
Nah, yeah, it's been
Have
so great to
a
have you on.
lovely evening.
You too.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah.